Okay, so we finally got some news. It feels like some shit is happening. For the past few days, it felt like nothing was happening, and I was literally just like, something happened. But we got shit happening, the FBI scandal. Not gonna be talking about that, to be honest. I don't entirely care about it. It is interesting though, and it is funny. Let me just talk about this real quick. It is funny to just imagine some fights being fixed. Like Charles Oliveira versus Topuria. Just saying, bro. Just saying. That shit could be fixed because my goat would not lose to Topuria. But Tupori is my profile picture, so I shouldn't be talking like that. Sorry, but it is funny to think about specific fights that were fixed. But since we don't really know what specific fights, just the FBI and betting scandals, I don't really give a fuck. I don't care about that, dude. I can't even bet legally anyway, so screw that. I want to talk about Jiri Prochazka and BJ Penn abusing the 10th guy he sees on the street because he thinks he's some fucking clone. That's interesting to me. I like that. So yeah, first we're talking about Jiri Prochazka teasing a move to middleweight, which I am happy about because I thought for a decent while that Jiri should go down to middleweight. I mean, he's smaller than Pereira. Pereira fought at middleweight before. Yes, he basically killed himself to make it. But still, if Pereira can do it, I think you can do it too. Especially Jiri Prochazka has fought for the belt and he has lost, and I do see him fighting for the belt one more time. But I'm not sure if he wins. So I don't like him saying only after he wins the UFC light heavyweight title because there's a Listen, I think he's gonna get a title shot. If he probably needs one more win, or you can just get it in his next fight, depending on what happens. Like we never know. Pereira could move up to heavyweight. It, could move up. Maybe he'll fight Jones. Hopefully not, but he could be fighting Aspinall too. If Aspinall fights gone, smoke's gone. Or just wins, Pereira could move up to heavyweight. He could see Tom Aspinall as a more winnable fight, and he probably wants to get that third belt. First fighter and only fighter to do it. Probably, well, maybe not in the history of the UFC. Maybe there'll be another fucking Alex Pereira. Who knows? But still, you never know what could happen. So he could be fighting for the belt in his next fight. Could be against Olberg, and yeah, the only thing I don't like is how he says he's only going down to middleweight after he wins the UFC light heavyweight title because I don't really think he'll win. It depends on who he fights. Like, really, honestly, if it's not Pereira, Giapros can very likely win. Like, he could be Olberg. I think he'll be Ankalaev if Ankalaev somehow gets his way to another title shot. But yeah, I think he could beat a lot of these guys. It's just Pereira that's tricky for him, and even Olberg is tricky. Another super technical kickboxer. Rakic was one too, and Mir did bulldoze through him. But Rakic is, we saw in his last fight, he's a little chinny. So I mean, yeah, it is interesting. But I do want to see him down in middleweight. There's a lot of fun fights. Like imagine Sean Strickland versus Jiri Prochazka. That would be. Listen, I know there's some guys that don't like Strickland. I like Strickland. Don't get me wrong, but it would be funny to see Jiri walk down Strickland or DDP versus Jiri. Imagine DDP versus Jiri at light heavyweight or Jiri versus Hamza. There's so many fun matchups. So I hope he goes down to middleweight no matter what. Whether he gets a title shot and loses, or he gets a title shot and wins and loses the belt eventually by fucking Olberg or something. I don't know. I like to see him down a middleweight. It'd be fun. But yeah, that's Jiri. We love Jiri here. We're Jiri lovers. Next though is BJ Penn arrested for the 60th time. It says sixth. No, I think that's 60th. It's gonna be 60th soon. Also sixth time this year. That is fucking crazy, dude. This guy is being arrested more than fucking Cedric Dumas, if that's his name. I don't know. The guy who looks like a germ. He's been arrested unironically more than him, which is impressive, Jiri. I mean, which is impressive. BJ Penn, not Jiri. Jiri would not do this shit. But BJ Penn got arrested and released on bail. Honestly, I didn't read the article. Probably should have. I think it was for assault. I don't know. He probably saw some random guy in the street and was like, "You fucking clone, get over here!" But yeah, BJ Penn. I don't know. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing. Come on, release my boy BJ Penn. The guy probably deserved it. Let's be real. No, I don't know. BJ Penn, just wanted to talk about this real quick. He's got to get his act together. Honestly, my opinion on this whole BJ Penn situation is I just think it's hilarious. Should he be in a mental hospital? Probably. Should he not be in public? Probably. Is it fucking hilarious? Yes, it is. It's hilarious. I love it. It is funny to just wake up and go on ESPN and be like, BJ Penn arrested for the 10th time in this month, and it's like, damn, okay, dude, more dangerous than your. Never mind. Not gonna say that. Next, which I'm kind of unhappy about, to be honest. Nate Diaz announces he's accepted a Jake Paul rematch. which is kind of lame. I wanted to see Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. I was actually unironically really excited for that fight just because the size difference, just because the size difference alone, and it being Jake Paul and a professional boxer. I mean, everything was just lined up for it to be just a fucking circus show. Jake Paul, 100 pounds heavier than the guy he's fighting, but the guy he's fighting is a professional boxer. It would have been really fun to just see them touch gloves. Fucking Jake Paul towering above little Tank Davis. That would have been hilarious to see, and it would have been really interesting to see how the fight would go. It would. Like, it is just interesting. Like, it's a freak show. But instead, we got Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz too. Jake Paul, who already beat Nate Diaz clearly in their first fight. Nate Diaz is taking it on a week's notice or 2 weeks' notice. So it's probably not going to go any different. It would be hilarious if Nate Diaz somehow won. Probably won't. It'd be funny though. So an interesting fight turned into a fucking filler fight. Like, I mean, Jake Paul fight Diaz, whoop him up, so then we can get that Gervonta Tank Davis versus Paul fight, because I actually want to see that fight. That fight's interesting. But yeah, Nate Diaz, I woke up and I just saw a fucking Instagram post of him saying, "Fight accepted. You're dead. Jake Paul's not dead, dude. You already beat your ass in the first fight. And I don't think the second fight's going to go any different. I don't. I mean, you're taking it on short notice. You're older now. Like, what? Like, and even in Nate Diaz's last fight against Masvidal, which I forget that fight even happened. Nate Diaz shouldn't even have won that fight. Like, I don't know. They robbed Masvidal. I'm happy Nate Diaz won, but still, Masvidal should have won that fight. It is hilarious they just gave it to Diaz just cause, I don't know. He just looked cool in the fight, I guess. But yeah, and no one really cared enough to care that it was a robbery. So, and it's Diaz. We love Diaz. Um, yeah, this fight, how I think it'll go. I mean, I just think Jake Paul will just outbox him like he did in the first fight. Diaz, he does not throw a lot of power in his shots, and he likes to overwhelm you, and that isn't really an effective style in pure boxing because a lot of these boxers aren't. It's harder. It's like you see boxers, you see them breaking less in MMA fights, or than MMA fighters in MMA fights. I butcher that. Because the rounds are shorter and there's breaks. Like a round in MMA is 5 minutes. 5 minutes of grappling, of striking. It's hard. It's easier to break guys when there's 5 minutes until they get their next break. In boxing, they got only 3 minutes. Like 3 minutes, they got their next break. They got a minute off. Like, it's harder to break guys, especially with the bigger gloves. Like, I just think fucking Jake Paul is just gonna outbox him, probably drop him again, and it's gonna be a nothing burger, literally a nothing fight. But it is funny. I mean, I am kind of annoyed too because I woke up and I saw Diaz say he accepted a boxing fight, and I was like, let's fucking go. Maybe it's Poirier. Even if I want Poirier to stay retired, if I want Nate Diaz to box someone, I want it to be Poirier. That would be awesome. I would love that. But instead, we got Jake Paul too. Kind of lame. It'll still be something to watch, I guess. I mean, on the 14th, I don't even know what fights on the 14th. It could be nothing. If there's no UFC on the 14th, I'm definitely watching this. But still, I really wanted it to be Gervonta Tank Davis. I really wanted that. That would be hilarious. That's just a funny ass fight, and it'd probably be a good fight too. But instead, we're stuck with Nate Diaz with brain damage over here fighting Jake Paul for the second time that no one cares about. Like, literally, no one cares about. But still, maybe Diaz wins. Maybe he wins. Okay, actually, no. There is a silver lining. There is a possible positive outcome. Nate Diaz wins, whoops Jake Paul somehow. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising. We've seen upsets like crazy. So maybe Nate Diaz beats Jake Paul and then calls out Conor McGregor. Imagine that. That would actually be awesome. Calls out McGregor for the White House card, please. That would be too perfect to happen. But it'd be funny. Or even Nate Diaz wins and he calls out Dustin Poirier. Literally anyone. Maybe he fucking calls out Ferguson for a rematch in boxing. Please, not that. But it'd be funny. It'd be funny if he called out McGregor, and I would love that. So maybe it's not so bad, and it'll be fun. It'll be something to watch. But that's it for the news. Not really a lot, honestly. Honestly, I'm just bored because this upcoming card is absolute shit. So keep giving us news. Give us more betting scandals. Give us scandals, to just keep us entertained while we deal with this shit card this week. But next week is fun, and the week after is also really fun with that awesome fight night. And JDM, hopefully he wins, even though I think Islam will win. But yeah, that's it for the video. See you in the next one.